How's everybody? This is the erroneous one here with the Kingdom Hearts Union Cross update. We did get an update last night. Well, yeah, last night, Wednesday, today's Thursday. So yeah, last night we got the update. Honestly, I wasn't really planning on getting or anticipating we would get an update until tomorrow, based off their updating schedule. But we did get one indeed. Pretty nifty one. So it's pretty much story. That's what we got. So there we go. New story on Prime Quest. Bam! So we got 15 new story quests and 25 new Proud Mode quests. We did not get any 0 AP. Kind of sucks. But there we go. In particular, though, the biggest part of this one with the new Proud Mode quest is we did indeed get the new Dark Gnaw Keyblade. And that is it's the first of the reversed Proud Mode Keyblades. And it is a very powerful one. It's a bit oddball in terms of it has very, very low max gauge requirements. I think it has a gauge... I think its max gauge is either going to be sorry, not S, something different. It's either going to be 9 or it's going to be 10 at its max. So it's going to require some specialized management. You're going to need SP stores in there. It's a curious blade, but when you utilize it properly, it is an extremely powerful blade. So it's a very good one to get a hold of. Very interesting. I do like it. And of course, we're going to get a new element for it, which will be the dark matter, which is what we'll use to get leveled up, along with, of course, with power gems. So, not too bad. Let's see. Yeah, so I guess now we're going to start getting dark matters and electrum ores now, starting with these new quests, which is kind of cool, considering we're now getting reverse keyblades, which is pretty nifty. Yeah, okay, cool. So there we go. Again, 15 more story modes, 25 more Proud Mode quests, no 0 AP. That does kind of suck, mainly in regards to the fact that, you know, these are expensive. I mean, let's go take a look at some of the quests right now. Let's see what we're dealing with real quick. Because we're dealing with not fun. That's what we're dealing with. Let's see. So, in story mode, quests are already cost 25 AP, so that's already a thing. And in Proud Mode, quests are costing 10. So Proud Mode's a little... Ooh, double mirrors. That's kind of cool. Proud Mode's a little more manageable, I guess, right now in terms of, you know, how much AP it's going to cost. Story Mode, not so much. Now, one of the reasons they might be doing this is because they're probably going to go... They might have been listening to one like, hey, there's no content, or hey, you know, the game is dry. You know, there's no content, there's nothing to do, you know... Give us something to do, so on and so forth. Well, they could have gone, you know what? Here are some new quest modes. There's no 0 AP, so you can't just go through and burn these out in a day. So now you're going to have to space out your timing doing these over the course of, like, you know, however long until you either A, finish them, or B, they release a 0 AP and you're able to go through and just burn through them again real fast. One or the other. So that could have been the response to that, which if they did, you know, that's both a good thing and a bad thing, I guess, in this case. I guess it's one way to say, hey guys, stop complaining, because if you complain, we're going to give you stuff like this. But I doubt it. That's just something there. We did get some more Proud Plus quests, so I'll be going through and doing those in the video separately pretty soon. Level 500 enemies now. They look to all be raid bosses as well, so there we go for those. Not too bad. But one of the biggest things I found today that was even more interesting to me is there was a hidden update, and it's right here. World of Final Fantasy Sora. Been a while since I've actually showcased this guy or actually utilized him. You know, I never got mine guilted. I only got one of them, sadly. It wasn't orbed either when I pulled it. So that was kind of it. You know, I got the one, I got lucky in my pulls for the WAF medals, and that's all I used for him. He's been buffed. His multiplier got increased, and more than anything else, he now deals for 3 turns. It raises your strength and PSM defense down by a tier. 3 turns now is how much it does it, which is pretty crazy because that is what he is in JP. The multiplier and the gauge and the turn increase is what he is JP. The only thing they didn't seem to increase on him was the guilt, or not the guilt, the guilt tier. He's still a tier 4 as opposed to tier 5. But the fact of the matter is, they have changed him up. He is now a different metal entirely. Well, not entirely, but, you know, he's greatly enhanced. 3 turns is a lot better than 2 turns as it was previously, as well as the multiplier increase. He still didn't get the extra traits or anything, slots there, which is fine. I didn't think he would, but it's neat that he did that. But it also bears a question in mind of, if they just buffed this guy, are we about to get the World of Final Fantasy medal reprint banner that came with those other two medals, two new ones in there? I don't know. It's very possible. It looks like it based off that one. Sadly, the other ones did not get buffed. Sephiroth is still the same. Same multiplier. Still only does it for 2 tiers, or for 2 turns. So, you know, there he is. Again, he still only has the 1 slot for traits and everything. So they're still the same, unfortunately. And they're still a tier 3 medal as well. So they didn't really get pumped up or anything. As for the album, I'm now at 97.1%. So they definitely added some medals in there. Let's see. So Axel is definitely one of them. We will be getting the Axel event on the 13th. So 2 of these slots are for the Tier 5 and the Tier 6 version of Axel. 2 of those slots I'm pretty sure are going to be for the new Final Fantasy medals that are going to come with the reprint. And I'm pretty sure that 3 of these slots here are going to be for the High Score Challenge medals, because tonight we should get that announcement for High Score Challenge. So that is something as well, that we're going to be getting that one in there. I mean, we should be getting that tonight. I mean, I'm almost guaranteeing that we're going to get that announcement tonight for the High Score Challenge. So tomorrow we should have the High Score Challenge. But there's still quite a few slots left there, so we got some stuff coming towards us pretty soon, it looks like, which is great. I mean, more stuff, more content. Hopefully they're not behind banners like that beforehand, but I don't hold a lot of faith in that, faith for that, unfortunately. But we will see, of course. Still, stuff is coming. The biggest thing for that one was that portion of it there was the World of Final Fantasy change. I mean, I was surprised that we didn't get the JP. Well, surprised, not surprised we didn't get the JP with the story quest and the Proud quest. Dark Knot is definitely something to look forward to, and I'll definitely be showcasing it off once I actually get it and I start getting it leveled up a bit more. But one thing that happened too as well, which is interesting, kind of funny, and this is kind of, I don't know, I'm not sure what to think about this one. Not that one. Where are we at? Here we go. This was the banner notice that we got today. This came in our update today. And let me see, see 810 right there, update. Here are the regular ones, just like we see in English for the global version of the game. Top right there is in Japanese. This, more than anything else, proves to us that this is, they're treating the game quite literally as not a direct port, but a port of the JP version of the game into global. We kind of knew that, they kind of showed beforehand, but this right here is pretty blatant. I mean, this is like a very blatant, hey, your game is just a port. It's not a special, we don't do anything unique for it exactly. You know, you might get like a medal or 2 before JP does, because like, you know, like a movie release comes out. So, for instance, the HD Beast and the Illustrated Bell and Beast, we got those earlier because that movie came out in the United States before it came out in Japan. So we got those first, and even then, they got a better version of the medal than we did for the HD Beast. But this is pretty blatant. I mean, it's like, wow. I mean, this is like, I'm not going to say a slap in the face, but it was definitely like a wide-eyed, wow, really, that actually this happened. And I'm not too sure what to think about that, unfortunately. I mean, it definitely sucks that that's a fact of the game right now, unfortunately, that we're pretty much treated that way. You know, we're pretty much treated as like the middle sibling, essentially, in that regard. And it's interesting. I mean, it's not entirely like that. That's probably too much to say, really, in all honesty, because as much as we want to complain about the mistakes they've made in our game lately, for instance, the HD Wisdom Sora ticker getting dropped when it shouldn't have, you know, an error with the Magic Gem deal in terms of last week's Gauntlet Challenge where it said gems and there's only 1 gem to receive, so they gave us 300 jewels for that. The Jack and Sally text error, you know, they've had some errors in there, but then again, so has JP. JP has also had some pretty big errors themselves. They had quite a few errors recently as well too, and in those errors, they actually refunded, like, anything you spent on a banner was refunded because the error was that big in JP. So the games, I mean, they both have mistakes being made. It's not just like, you know, oh, you know, Global's like, you know, Global is it's treated so much worse than JP. That's not quite the case in regards. I mean, it's proven now that we're a port of the game, so it's not that we're treated worse exactly per se. It's just that everything they're doing is deliberate, which is interesting. Which is interesting to think about. Anything they do to change a medal to is a deliberate thing, since it's a direct port of the JP version of the game. So things like the World Fantasy medals, when we first got them, and they were nerfed, and people were pretty upset that they were nerfed. The reasoning primarily, they didn't outright say this, but the reasoning thought for that one was, if we got the World of Final Fantasy medals as they were presented to JP, and they were released that same way in Global, it would have broken our game. They were that strong. And that's not entirely inaccurate at the time, because when they were first released, the Waffles were decimating everything. I mean, if you had them in Coliseum, you were flying in Coliseum, you were reaching new tier levels you never got to before. You were taking out bosses a lot easier. I mean, a lot of things changed when the Waffles came out. So, I can kind of see that. But now it's we're at the point where, for instance, a good example of this one is, I'm pretty sure everybody's noticed the Union Cross bonus time, the bonus bosses and everything. Oh my god, those guys are ridiculous. And it's not so much that they're strong. I mean, all the enemies have been strong and capable of taking you out in one turn or so, if you didn't turtle up. It's so that they have so much health. So much health. And that's an interesting concept too to think about as well. It's like, why do they do that? Why do they make these Union Cross bonus bosses so much stronger? And there could be two potential reasons for that. They could have been, A, you asked for the game to be more like JP, you want to copy JP, well bam, here you go. Here's an example of, somewhat an example, because it's nowhere near what JP actually has, but here's an example of what the JP players get to contend with. Have at it. You know, if you guys think you're so big and bad and you want the game to be so much like JP. Okay, it's a possibility. More than likely, I'm thinking that they probably saw all the people saying, you know, oh, I finished the Union Crossboard so quickly, or it's so boring, I don't want to do it, you know, there's no challenge to it or anything. They're probably going like, oh yeah, that's cute. Here you go. Deal with these guys now. And they've kind of changed it to where it's like, honestly enough, unless you're lucky enough to stumble upon a random party that has decent players in it that are playing together and playing well together, you really need to organize your party a lot better in order to actually go and take those on. Like, for instance, like, realistically, four players need to be, like, dedicated to attacking. One player needs to be primarily dedicated to healing, and then one player can be, like, a mixture of both. He can attack here and there, and he can also focus on, like, you know, reviving people as well, too. If you have a pretty good party, you're going to be okay. Thankfully, my party was decent and well put together, and I finished my boards not the first day but the second day, because we couldn't quite, because it took so long to kill a boss that we weren't able to get, or I wasn't able to get enough coins in the first go around in order to get them all. So there is that situation for that one. Not too surprising in regards to that one, but it is what it is, and for what we saw for that. So definitely an interesting change up. But if we get the World of Final Fantasy reprint banner, I really wonder how it's going to play out. I'm pretty sure that the two other medals, and I forget their names, mainly because I wasn't too interested in them for the most part. If we get them, I'm pretty sure they're going to be tier 5s. That's fair enough. And as strong as those medals were, as strong as the Waffle medals were at the time, they are sincerely outclassed now, especially with them still only being tier 3s and a tier 4 Sora. Sora will still maintain, especially if you get some good traits on that Sora. That Sora can wreck in Coliseum if you get air and ground on it. Or against raid bosses, for instance, if you get, like, you know, raid damage on that guy, he can do some serious damage. No kidding. He can be really good because his multiplier is well put together, and his buffs and debuffs last for 3 turns. So he can do some damage. The other one, Sephiroth, Cloud, Squall, Tama, Yuna, while they're still powerful, and if you have them put out there like with 84s and everything, they're still very good. And if you get them traded, better yet, they're going to perform even better for you. But they are still outclassed by medals we have now. So if we get that reprint banner, I am not going to pull from it. Those other 2 medals, honestly enough, aren't worth it for me to want to pull from. Despite the fact that they ignore attributes, I mean, I don't really see them doing a whole lot. I mean, unless there's some kind of like, you know, well, let me phrase it. If we get them announced tonight and the High School Challenge, and then the Waffle medals are announced as booster medals, I mean, I might pull a little bit for them. Not a lot, because like I said, I'm kind of out of funds myself, as we all know, from previous videos. So I won't pull a whole lot for them, but you know, you might want to consider pulling for the banners then, because at that point in time, they're gonna be percent boosters for the High Score Challenge. So who knows for that one? I don't know. Again, a lot rides on tonight and what we get tonight, and if we actually get that banner released tonight, the reprint banner re-released tonight, and the High Score Challenge also announced tonight. Don't know. It's going to be interesting. I mean, I'm hoping that the older Waffle medals will also be decent percent boosters, if they are indeed going to be percent boosters, if it is a reprint banner, because I have them all. We'll see what they do for that one. But if they don't do it, if they don't count as a High Score Challenge percent for the most part, I honestly recommend not pulling from that banner. You'd be better served putting your resources into trying and getting and mercy pulling, or even attempting to guilt that HT wasn't from Sora. Because out of all that, not only we have a chance to guilt a really good medal that's good for everything, Coliseum and beyond, you also have a chance of getting that Sora EX medal too, which would be only beneficial to a lot of players. So between the two of them, I would still stick to the Sora EX banner. But again, we'll see what they say and what they do for that one. If you've never pulled any waffles before, if you're and they guarantee, again, the last time we got the World of Final Fantasy banner, one of the medals was guaranteed in each pool. So you kind of have to figure that out too as well. They're guaranteed each pool. That's great, but they only really shined when you got them guilted. They didn't do a whole lot when they weren't guilted. They did damage. Don't be wrong. They did decent damage when they weren't guilted. They still do. Even though they're not guilted. But when they're guilted is when they really, really shine, especially with traits. So, all that into consideration, I probably avoid the banner. Unless they're going to be boosters for you. We'll see. I have no idea. Again, we'll have to wait until tonight. But that's pretty much it, guys. I've kind of rambled on a bit. Those are the updates, and that's what's happened today. I'll come to you guys tomorrow with a brand new update video for whatever we get tonight. But it's definitely going to be interesting. Definitely going to be interesting. I honestly can't wait for it. I do want to see it for sure tonight. I'm just insanely curious. I want to see what we're going to get. So, I'll leave it there, guys. Thank you all for watching, as always. And I'll come back to you guys pretty soon after this one with the Proud Plus quest. I'm gonna jet through those real quick and see how they're going to pan out. Because I am very curious. But yeah, that's it. And that, you guys have a great night. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.